Welcome to Divisive Issues, the spoiler-filled, loudmouth comic book podcast where we talk about controversial and notorious comic books. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sly.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl.
I should point out, Ryan said loudmouth. I think he meant foul mouth.
Did I say loudmouth?
But loudmouth is also accurate.
Yes, I meant foul mouth. Okay, so today we are going to be doing part 2 of our Let's Kill All the Good X-Men characters. And it's Death of X by Jeff Lemire, Charles Soule, with art by, what is it, Aaron Cooter?
Aaron Cooter.
Aaron
Yeah.
Cooter.
So one thing to note: last time you mentioned Charles Soule was not related to the X-Men books at all the time. He was a newcomer. I think that was like one of his earliest Marvel books. Like he did one before that. And here it's Charles Soule again, but to Marvel's credit, they did have the current X writer Jeff Lemire co-writing it.
And Charles Soule was writing Inhumans.
Oh, he was? Well, Inhumans sucks, so that's almost irrelevant, but it is...
A knock against him.
But this is... The team makes more sense here.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not realize this was written by the same one as Death of Wolverine.
I did not.
Hopefully it'll be as good.
Yes.
So before we begin, can I give you guys a fun fact?
Yes.
That I didn't know that you guys all... We'll see if Phil knows this. I did not realize that Cyclops does not have laser eyes. He has gateways to the punch dimension in his eyes.
Okay.
I did not know that either.
All right, that's never been referenced in any comic book. It's just in the fucking Marvel Handbook they mentioned it, and it's been a fucking meme. It's not canon. I'm not going to treat it as canon.
I didn't think they were lasers. They're kinetic energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, their kinetic energy. The only explanation that was actually in the comic in the 60s was that his eyes are solar power and they shoot kinetic energy. A fucking Marvel Handbook said they're punch dimensions. I will not consider that canon. Fuck you, Marvel Handbook.
So, everybody knows all about Wolverine. But I feel like before we do the story, we should give a little bit of Cyclops stuff. Because I'm a huge Cyclops fan, Sly's a huge Cyclops fan, and even though there was a thread in the Comrade Radio Facebook group where apparently everybody who listens to the network loves Cyclops, that's not the norm.
Yeah.
Usually people complain about how boring he is and how shitty he is. Why do you...
Cyclops suffer a lot because he's like the foil for Wolverine. He's the guy that Wolverine butts heads with.
Yeah, I actually liked him the most from the animated series. But I could see if you were a big Wolverine fan that Cyclops is a big wet blanket the entire time.
He's also terrible in the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I hated a lot of Wolverine fans, because when I was a kid, even when I was younger, and I liked Wolverine, like, Wolverine's cool, he's the claws. I always, maybe because I understand complex calculations better than these fucking idiots, but I was like, if you take away either one of them, they're like the dynamic of the team completely changes.
Like Sonic and Shadow.
Yeah, like you need both of them. They're the polar opposites, but Cyclops is the orderly, commandering type, and Wolverine is the more rebellious, more...
He's like the bad boy.
The bad boy, exactly.
They also both like to scream Gene.
Yeah, they both like Scream Gene. If you don't have both Screaming Gene, then how are you going to have X-Men?
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Spider-Man, Cyclops would be my favorite Marvel character. And I've always really liked... Yeah, I really love Cyclops. I've always really liked his, like... Because he has this power that he can never control, he's always, like, very held back and, like, emotionally distant to everybody and, like, super insecure that he's gonna, like, fail and hurt somebody. And that's one of the reasons why he always falls in love with telepaths, because they're the only ones that can understand his emotions, because he's so closed off. And I find the way he overcomes that to, like, lead the X-Men and, like, take over for Professor X as the leader of the team and, like, evolves to become, like, the face of mutants in universe. Like, Wolverine's the face of mutants in real world, but in universe it's Cyclops, and I always find that, like, really, really fascinating.
So to bring up what Darryl mentioned, when Darryl mentioned X-Men in the anime series, that's kind of relevant because one of the defining things about Cyclops in the beginning was that in the first mission on the TAS, Cyclops leaves Morph and Beast to die to save the rest of the team, and people say he's an asshole, fuck him. And that's kind of the debate the character has been pushed even further in recent years, because what happened in recent years, X-Men and mutants in general have been kind of pushed to the brink of genocide.
Not to they went from millions to under 200. Like, they were genocided.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't all killed off. A lot of them were depowered. They were depowered.
But a whole lot of them were killed off.
Yeah, they were killed off once they were depowered. Like, people were like, now mutants are powerless, we can kill them for free. So what happened was Cyclops basically became, as leader of the X-Men, he follows his responsibility to save as many people as he can. So he kind of became the new Magneto while Wolverine kind of became the new Professor X. Well, Professor X we need to follow Professor X's mentality, and Cyclops no, we have to save as many people as possible. We can't play nice with humans all the time. We have to do the right thing. So basically, the team's literally split in two, and Cyclops has a more radical team, and Wolverine continued Professor X's legacy in school. Even after Professor X died.
Yeah, so some of the things that Cyclops did was because mutants were just getting killed left and right, he established their own island that basically acts as an independent country that all mutants, even villains, are welcome at, because he's we are gonna be extinct. Yeah. And he also one of the big reasons why they split is because Cyclops felt like he had to train the young kids that were mutants to fight like he did when he was a kid. Where Wolverine was no, they should be protected and kept separate in class. They should just be...
They should be students.
They should be students, and Cyclops was no, they should be soldiers because they are, 0.5% of the entire mutant race.
Yeah, they're the last of their kind.
Yeah, and so this event was... it's interesting because there's a huge contrast between this event and the other event. The other event, Death Wolverine, is hyped just because it's Death Wolverine. This event was hyped in context of the Marvel Universe, and
I do really like that Cyclops always makes the point, I've been fighting Sentinels since I was 15, and nobody ever protected me. We have to protect ourselves, and that was taken to its extreme in recent years, where Cyclops is viewed as a terrorist.
Yeah, but so what happened in recent years was Marvel jumped ahead. I forget how many months, 8 months ahead.
Yeah, I think so.
After a big event, and one of the big gimmicks of this whole thing was that a bunch of status quo changed, and with X-Men particularly, the question was, how did we get to this new status quo? Because now Cyclops was gone, and everyone talked about him like he was dead, and everyone talked about him like he was the worst version of Hitler.
Yeah,
yeah, they called him a terrorist, and I saw a screen cap of them comparing him to Hitler.
Yeah, so so people were like, what did Cyclops do so bad? Why is he dead? And all this other stuff. So they released this new book coming out, Death of X, and it's supposed to answer all the questions. And they even kept it ambiguous. Is Cyclops really gonna die? Because it just says Death of X. Is that really Cyclops? Did Cyclops really die?
Meanwhile, Cyclops' costume is a big X.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is he wearing? He just has a big X on his face.
Costume.
We should talk about that fucking shit because it's pissing me off. So when they made Cyclops into more morally questioning...
Oh, this is all Bendis stuff, by the way.
Yeah. Brian Bendis is writer of Civil War. This is more of his shit.
Civil War 2.
Oh my god. Okay, so I was going to bring this up as soon as we started. This comic was, for me, a worse version of Civil War 2. The whole time, I'm like, this is Civil War again. And it's the fact that it's the same person makes me
No,
really...
Bendis didn't write this
He's following up on the Civil War 2 status quo.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Bendis is the one that made Scott, Scott Summers, the Cyclops, if you don't know, made him the terrorist face.
Okay,
And gave him an X mask instead of having a visor, the slit. He has an X mask that shoots X's out, which is really fucking dumb.
Wait, it shoots X's?
Yeah, all of these, basically all the costumes for this run were all shitty.
Okay, alright, Punch Dimension is canon to me because this is canon.
Okay, and also all of the costumes from this era were shit because they also gave Magneto a sleeveless shirt for some reason, which is really stupid, and they gave Magic, Emma Frost. They look like fucking Final Fantasy characters.
Okay, is it just the costumes? Because with this intro, the first page of this comic shows mutants, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magic, Iceman, Stepford Cuckoos, Gold Balls.
Gold Balls is a Bendis character. He makes
give a
giant
shit.
gold balls. It's stupid.
It's all just so dumb looking and sounding, and then in practice it's not like, oh, Gold Balls is actually a cool character or something.
No, he's not. He's bad.
Gold Balls is here's the defense of this. Gold Balls is perfectly stupid. He's created to be a stupid character. He's supposed to. They even make fun of him in the story. Gold Balls is like, I don't know if I'm cut for this, and the other X-Men are like, yeah, you're not. Get the fuck out of here, Gold Balls. They make fun of him.
For the record, Bendis, he in an interview when they were like, hey, everyone says that Marvel's not allowed to make new X-Men characters in their comics because the movies, the stuff we talked about last episode, where it's like, oh, if we make new X-Men characters, they'll be in the movies. And Bendis was like, no, they let me create Gold Balls. Obviously, they let us make new X-Men characters. Like,
but maybe Bendis created Gold Balls so Fox wouldn't want to use them.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have a choice. You can use it. We can rip off ideas and use Gold Balls or not. Fuck you, Fox.
He's playing 4D chess.
So yeah, Bendis is also the one who brought the teen X-Men that we talked about in the Civil War 2 episode to here, and
Guys, I can't talk about this.
My favorite era of X-Men, I think it's my favorite era of X-Men, is right before Bendis.
Is it Team X-Men era, Ryan? This era right here?
No, it's like right before Bendis takes over, and Bendis just he really ruined this franchise. Like, really badly.
Yeah.
So the first time I read Death of X, I was coming from, this is gonna fill in these gaps of why everyone hates Cyclops, and like, maybe this will be the send-off to the character or whatever. And I like looked to this story for answers because I was reading the X-Men books at the time, and when I finished it, I really, really, really hated it. Now, when I reread it as just kind of a separate story after deciding that I'm going to drop all the X-Men books until they get better, I liked it a lot more.
All right, so we'll discuss all our thoughts.
So
we'll probably yell at it for 5 hours. If we talk about it now, we'll yell about it for 5 hours, and then you'll be like, oh, by the way, this is how it happens.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we were yelling about it for 2 weeks. So, it's like, I need a break.
But anyway, Cyclops is a character that like I really love, but it gets harder and harder to love him around this time.
Yeah, so Emma Frost is another important X-Men character. She's Cyclops' girlfriend. If you watched X-Men First Class, she's the woman in white, Jessica Jones. In the comics,
she's like the Wolverine to Jean Grey's Cyclops. Like, she's like the bad version of Jean Grey. And by bad, I don't mean evil. I mean like,
I only remember her being a villain. She was in the Brotherhood.
Yeah, she got reformed. She's a very complex character because she was a villain. She's
one of my favorite X-Men.
She used to fuck up. She used to use her telepathy to fuck up people to her own ends, to make money and stuff like that. Then eventually, the X-Men helped her. She became a teacher at the X-Men school, and she's one that, like, she's really interesting because she comes off as a bitch, but deep down, she cares about all her students. So
I think I really like her and Cyclops' dynamic as both people that like people look at as total assholes, but inside are much, much more nuanced.
I mean, you can't think about what comes out of their mouth; it's what's in their heart.
You know, I was gonna say it's what comes out of their eyes.
Punches.
What comes out of the punch dimension?
Yeah. So she also has 3 triplet cyclics that Phil mentioned called the Step for Cuckoos. Yeah, it sounds dumb, but the run they came from, they were made to be like... that's their nickname that people call them because they're so weird. They're basically like... if you watch the children of like the Village of the Damned, like they're really 3 creepy girls who just talk together and finish each other's sentences.
They're like a hive mind.
Yeah, no, they literally are.
Yeah, so like outside that context, you'll be like, this is a stupid name, Step for Cuckoos. But that was like a nickname they made like people because they were so weird, like Step for Cuckoos, and they kind of adopted it as their own.
Our question: are we going to talk about the awesome Inhuman cast?
Yeah, but first, let me just finish off the X-Men. So, the last one, only worth mentioning because she does something important, is she sends people to hell in the story, is Magic, who can send people to hell, and she's Klaus' sister. And she can teleport between dimensions.
She sends people to hell because I read that she ruled hell for a time.
Yeah, she did. But we're not getting into that. That's very...
Magic's awesome. Anything with Magic in is great.
Oh my god, kill me now. So this is why this reminds me of Civil War, because there's a constant barrage of bullshit comic stuff from the first page. Like, they just go ham with it. They're like, look at all these characters. They're doing all this crazy stuff. They're going to hell sometimes. They're ruling hell maybe. This guy's gold balls. And then...
we should also clarify, Gold Ball shoots actual Gold Balls. His power is little. Like,
we don't need to clarify anything. He's in like the first issue, and that's it.
I know, but we said it a million times. People are going to be curious. Like, what's Gold Balls? No, he literally shoots Gold Balls out of his body.
Real quick, do you guys like the art? We didn't mention
it.
There's moments where the art's really good. It's one of those things where like it doesn't captivate you, kind of like McNiven's stuff.
It looks more kind of house style to me. I think it's done really, really well for house style, but there's not many parts that I'm like, ooh, this stands out as exceptional.
I actually disagree. I think Steve McNiven's a bit more house style. This one, the problem is that they have some fill-in artists at some points. It's very detailed, and the figures are the human figures are very, like, they're not like edgy 90s style. They're not like, they're very unique. It's very unique to me. I think it's very more Steve Niven is more house style to me. Yeah. It's very much like what you expect.
Yeah, they're pretty unique. They're very like they kind of look soft.
Yeah, soft is a good
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. It just, to me, McNiven's art really stood out. This kind of just told the story, I think.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
I think Steve McNiven's art is better, but I do think I do like this art too. Like, but
I think this art is better than most of the art on all the other X books right now. So take that how you will.
Yeah. So I'll mention the point of Inhumans first. Darryl can mention whatever ones he wants to point out, but the most important one is Crystal, who controls elements, and she's historically one of the few nice Inhumans. And Inhumans is basically, because Fox doesn't have the rights to X-Men, Inhumans have basically started replacing the X-Men in general.
We talked about it a lot on our Civil War II episode.
Yeah.
I recommend you listen to that first.
Yeah, they're just mutants who, when a mist rolls into town, people become cocoons and then become them.
Yeah, so Crystal became a more prominent character even more after that because she's like the face of the Inhumans because she's the one that's not a complete asshole. She actually had relationships because like, Inhumans in any story they've been like even before all this shit happened from Marvel pushing Inhumans, I've always hated Inhumans because they're always asshole
And they're always boring.
Yeah, but not just that. Every other story of them is them waging war on Earth or on each other. It's them thinking they're always bitching about humanity. We have to leave humanity and live on the fucking moon because humanity hates us. But almost every other story, they're just fucking assholes all the time. Just one good example is just two examples. We'll talk about two examples. Is in the '60s, Silver Surfer was like the nicest fucking character. Basically, he was trapped on Earth, and he's just like, why is humanity so savage? Why is so much violence in this world? Like, why can't we find peace? Like, he's an ultimate hippie, basically. He basically flew into the Inhumans territory by accident, and Inhumans, instead of just talking me out, to me, started beating the shit out of him. They started fucking brutalizing him.
Doesn't he say, like, wait, please, stop?
He says, like, wait, please stop. Not only that, he always just says, like, guys, like, I'm Silver Surfer. I can explode you if I want to. The only reason you're not there right now is because I'm so fucking nice.
That's what I was going to say. Like, they can beat up Silver Surfer?
They couldn't, but Silver Surfer was just so nice to a point. And then he was like, yeah, beat up the Silver Surfer. Everyone's going to think we're hot shit after we beat up the Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer just literally just waves his hand and just fucking knocks them all back and flies away saying, those are the biggest fucking assholes ever. like I want to fucking kill them all now, but I can't.
Yeah.
And so that's one story in the '60s. So you might say, oh, '60s was just like a '60s story. What about now? Recent story of Daredevil. A recent story of Daredevil was Inhuman shows up in New York City and starts killing people. Daredevil's like, oh, I'm going to investigate. So I'm going to try to stop the Inhuman. The Inhuman royal family shows up and they're like, oh, you can't stop him, Daredevil, because we have to stop him because it's good PR for Inhumans to stop Inhumans. And Daredevil's like, but can I help you? Can I do my own investigation? And they're like, if you try to stop this Inhuman, Daredevil, we will literally beat the shit out of you right now. And we're Inhumans, we can fucking murder you. So Daredevil's like, okay, you can fucking have this. People will die, but whatever, fuck you. So Inhumans are assholes.
Is that part of Charles Soule's Daredevil?
Yes.
It sounds like they're very protective of their own people to the point where it's like we want to deal with matters regarding our own people with our laws, not your laws, wherever they are.
Yeah, but that makes them like they can't be the persecuted minority then. Like they assert their authority over us more than we do over them at any point of history. Like it's very.
So you're saying authority figures shouldn't reflect the communities they police, right, Sly?
Are you trying to catch me in some kind of liberal Catch-22 Ryan?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Also, we should mention that Crystal is the sister to Medusa, who is the matriarch of the Inhumans.
Yeah, so the king and queen are Medusa, who has long hair that she can control, and Black Bolt, who
I thought he was a mutant.
No,
he's an Inhuman.
He's always been an Inhuman?
Yeah.
And Black Bolt's whole thing is if he says anything, everybody dies. If he whispers, it explodes.
Yeah, he can never say anything because his whispers can blow up cities, and like it's always a big event whenever he speaks. Because like they had an event like when Doctor Doom became like a god level character, all Black Bolt did was yell at him, and Doctor Doom was owned. So like that's how powerful Black Bolt is.
Yeah. I like that he's like a reverse Cyclops, where instead of opening his eyes, he can't open. His mouth.
Or it's like a reverse Banshee.
Yeah, not the reverse Banshee.
Just an extra Banshee.
Oh, extra Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee Plus.
Like Banshee can yell and be powerful, but he can't even speak without being powerful. So.
Okay, it's been 20
Let's start the story, please.
minutes. What happens in this book?
Wait, first I just want to read the Inhuman names of this issue.
All right,
we
go
have
ahead.
Crystal, Gorgon, Grid, Flint, Naja, ISO. It's one of those things where it's like very clearly like 2000s names, like trying to name X-Men, but like in a cool way for teens.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's across from Gold Balls, it's fine.
Just some backstory. We should talk about the origins of the Inhuman Royal Family.
I just want to do this so we can go ahead through the rest of the story faster. Fuck you guys.
All right, let's go.
So now we don't have to explain Medusa. We have to explain Black Bolt, whatever. So now the story opens up. Inhumans are spreading the Terrigen Mist. As we mentioned, Inhumans spread the Terrigen Mist around Earth and create more Inhumans. Inhumans show up in cocoons and get born out of
I didn't
cocoons.
realize that they created that, or they spread that
Yeah.
until this.
It existed beforehand, and now they have control of it. They spread it out.
Those
around.
were some of the things I wanted to know, because the Terrigen Mist is a central like agent to this story. I want to know, could you make more of them? Because if you could, what is the problem here?
I think it's an actual thing that exists in the world, and they basically contained a bunch of it, and now they're spreading it purposefully. And so they're spreading it, making cocoons, and while they're doing that, Hydra attacks cocoons that are being born in Japan. A new Inhuman with a blue mohawk shows up while the humans are fighting these Hydra agents, and this new Inhuman who becomes called Downer, he makes all the Hydra agents become hypnotized, and that's
basically like makes people unconscious with his blue tentacles.
Yeah, he makes tentacles come out and they wrap around you and you fall asleep. And meanwhile, while this is happening, the X-Men arrive on Muir Island, which is like their science lab island place, and the Terrigen Mist spread there, and it turns out they killed almost all the mutants there.
Okay, I'm not gonna go into detail because we've already spent a lot of time, but we complained last episode about Cyber being just fucking found dead. This is Jamie Madrox, who is one of the most beloved X-Men characters and had...
The Multiple Man.
Yeah, Multiple Man.
Yes.
He had this noir book called X Factor that was... It went for years and years and years, and it is one of the most beloved Marvel books ever written.
And not only that, he was one of the few characters that was like had a happy ending. Like he had a big around for years, he resolved, and like kind of like retired, and now he's here dead.
Yeah, they just show up and kill him. And I mean, like, the run is like over 20 trades. That's how long X Factor is, and like it is that same thread in Comrade Radio. We were talking about how great X Factor is in 3 separate topics. Yeah. So like it's so good, and they're like, nah, he's dead now. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, Multiple Man just died off screen. One of the most beloved.
No, he dies in Cyclops' arms. He's like the Terrigen Mist killed.
One of them does, but technically he died off screen like a million times because multiple copies.
One of them does.
Yeah, Multiple Man makes copies of himself, and that's why he'll probably come back eventually because he died in the 90s too. But all they have to do is say they're just a copy. I'm the real Multiple Man.
But he does. No, he explicitly says I'm the original.
But any copy can say that.
They always say that. They're always like.
But anyway, it's annoying.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's dead, and while they're investigating this, Scott passes out while calling Beast about all this, saying, "Oh my God, the mist kills mutants, Hank." But then he passes out while saying that.
Passes out with blood coming out of his nose.
Yeah,
he's like sick.
Yeah. So after coming to, he convenes with the rest of the X-Men that came with him to the island, and tells them that he's concerned. As far as he's concerned, it's the Inhumans that killed the mutants. Like, he's blaming this on the Inhumans. Like, fuck them, basically.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, the Inhumans are just fighting Hydra agents this whole time.
I explained that already, but Phil, fucking pay attention.
Okay, well you said they started fighting them, but
no, I said the guy made him fall asleep. Like, I did it out of order just so we can do it fast.
These stories happen in tandem. It switches back and forth between them until it culminates in the last page, where it's both like Scott and Crystal saying we protect our own.
Yeah.
So it's showing you that they're going to be opposed to each other because they're looking out for the safety of their own people.
Yeah. So issue 2, Darryl.
All right, so issue 2 is it opens.
so Storm confronts Medusa about the mists.
Storm is on Team Wolverine. She's not on Cyclops' team here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Team Wolverine of Team Mutant.
Yeah. No, she's like the on the Professor X side, not the Magneto side.
Yeah.
What does she say?
She basically wants to be diplomatic and say, like, we should work together to solve this issue, but she was worried that everyone's suspicious. Like, she says, even I was suspicious. I can't imagine what Cyclops is thinking right now.
Yeah, like, these mists could have been made to kill mutants, especially when you get genocided. I guess you have a lot of anxiety about being genocided
even if they weren't made to kill mutants, it shouldn't fucking matter. They're killing mutants. You should stop them.
No, but there's a difference between, like, oops, there's an accident, but we genocided your race on purpose. Fuck you.
Yeah,
like,
I know there's a difference, but, like... I don't know.
But that's what Storm is here to discuss. Like, if it's humans are doing it purposefully, fuck you. But she wants to see it if it was that, because if it's not, they can work together. Like, she's trying to be Professor X, let's work together stuff.
Mm-hmm. She, in this story, she plays kind of like the middle ground of trying to make peace between both Inhumans and mutants.
Yeah. She's a centrist fucking...
Yeah, she is a centrist in this.
Yeah. So what happens after Storm leaves?
Medusa starts talking to Black Bolt, and she's saying, like, they have to start planning about what they're going to do if, like, the mutants take the first step to attack them or anything, because, again, they have to protect their kingdom. And then suddenly Scott, using Emma Frost, he's mentally projecting himself to everyone in the world, and he starts claiming that the Inhumans lied about the gas being benign that's going around, and that...
He's saying it kills mutants, it could even kill humans, you don't know, and they pumped it into the very air we breathe.
And without even caring about whether or not it hurts other races.
Which, for the record, is what happened.
Yeah, so that he's literally lied about that.
Yep. And so he projects that message out to everyone, and then there's, like, this starts riots in different cities, because people are all freaking out about the Terrigen Mist.
Yeah.
And then Crystal and the Inhuman team go, and they're trying to... calm a city down and also hold back the Terrigen Mist that's supposed to be going to the next city. And Storm shows up and she tornadoes the mist away for now.
She's up with her team, by the way. But what happens is everyone in town starts freaking out. So Downer makes everyone fall asleep, including Storm's team, who came to help.
Yeah, because since he can't control his power, since he's a newly born Inhuman, he needs to just knock every non-Inhuman out. That's the only way to calm everybody down.
Yeah.
And then, meanwhile, Emma is talking to Magneto, who's just floating around with his metal balls, with his gold balls. No, silver balls.
I love the fact that they psychically zoom in on this picture of Storm's team on the ground as if it's like one of those shows. It's like, look, they've killed them all, even though they put them to sleep.
No, because Emma, not that. Oh, they killed him. Emma's showing this to Magneto, basically saying like, look how easily Inhumans dispatched these X-Men.
Yeah, that they're dangerous.
But they weren't fighting though.
No, but that's the thing. Like, if push comes to shove, the X-Men can't fight the Inhumans because the Inhumans are way more powerful. That's what she's saying. She's not saying they kill these people. She's saying, look what they did trying to, how easily just knock us unconscious. Like, if there's an actual fight for our lives, they could just take us out that easily. Like, put you to sleep and kill you. What are the X-Men gonna do?
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. And that's why we need Magneto's help, because Magneto is one of the more powerful mutants.
Also, I hate Magneto's sleeveless design.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Bad.
It's fucking terrible.
It doesn't seem to make sense with it. It's like Professor X going out in like a wife beater or something.
Yeah.
It's like, it just isn't what I picture you as.
All the designs from this era are terrible.
It's not just the sleevelessness too. It's that he wears like gauntlets after his
Yeah.
bare arms.
The Emma
It's like-
Frost and Magic designs make them look exactly the same, except Magic has bangs and Emma Frost doesn't.
Yeah.
And like, it's all the designs from this era are just terrible.
Malcolm actually said, like, the guy who drew these designs, Chris Botchell, is one of the least favorite artists. And this is a case against Chris Botchell because he made designs super anime-esque. I don't know why. Like, they don't fit into the real world of the X-Men.
It's weird.
Trying to get a new group of people in.
But like it works like in like a stylized art style. But then when you have them sitting next to other people with better costumes,
that's what makes it look weird. Is that
Yeah.
Like, Storm's costume looks fantastic.
yeah, if it was just all people like that, it would be okay. But the fact that they just stand out in this type of world.
It's like the difference. Like if you had people in spandex in like in the '60s comic versus people in spandex in like X-Men 2 or something like that. Wherever else is wearing black leather.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really stupid.
It's actually exactly like that because they're wearing black leather and the other costumes are spandex.
Yeah.
So are we up to issue 3 now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Our roster of mutants has grown.
Yeah.
Most of them don't do anything, so it's not really worth listening to them all.
Yeah, but at the bottom right, did you want to do it, Ryan?
no, you go for it.
Oh, at the bottom right of the mutant roster, I want to point out there's a picture of Sunfire that's taken from a later page, but because the image of him is so small, it's blown up and he looks so derpy and doofy. And like if you asked a kindergartner to draw him, or maybe a third grader to draw him, that this is what would come out as. And this is baffling to me because like Marvel treats their brands like this is a big event. This is about the death of Cyclops. This is how all this stuff happened.
Spoilers.
And having this within the second page, like I don't know how this passed, how anyone okayed this.
And if Sunfire isn't important enough to have like his own panel in this issue, he shouldn't show up in his fucking recap page yet.
Like what are you doing?
See, I read this in trade, so I don't have this page.
Really?
You're missing out, Ryan. This is the best
know.
part.
It's a lot of cool characters like Rockslide, who looks like the
Hey,
Thing,
Rockslide's
but-
awesome.
Rockslide's the best character. If you talk about Rockslide, we're gonna do Rockslide next
I
fucking
was gonna
story.
say like Phil accidentally stumbled on another swamp thing.
You Rockslide onto another Rockslide.
Okay,
more
so
like.
anyway, in
Anyway.
issue 3, they recruit Team Cyclops recruits Alchemy, a super obscure old X Factor character from the 80s.
Yeah.
Where he's alchemy. He could change chemical compositions of things, but he just looks like a kid with glasses.
Yeah, he's not a hero. He was never a hero. He was just like a fucking dork who looks like Harry Potter, kind of.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, while they're doing that, Storm's team wakes up, and even like super milquetoast, moderate centrist Storm is pissed about being put to sleep.
Yeah, so in her instance, like this is like the Trump being elected, and the instigator to make her become a radical. Like,
Yeah. And Downer decides, oh, we'll just fix this by putting them back to sleep.
yeah.
Well, because they're all like, "Fuck you, you pieces of shit! Shouldn't have done this to us. You want me to use my powers on you without you asking?
Yeah,
you piece of shit."
this is I like said just like in Civil War 2, one of the big things with like central to Marvel conflicts getting escalated is that the stupidest characters start fighting each other, where they're like, "Hey, why'd you put me to sleep?" And then like Iceman flicks ice at someone, and then someone like breaks the ground back at Iceman, and then it starts looking violent.
Also, there's a Sentinel on the X-Men.
I don't know where that particular one showed up, but there was like different there was like Sentinels that got reprogrammed to be good guys at one point, and there were Sentinels that were mechs, like they're actually like Gundams, like you pilot them, so it could be either one of those. I don't know which one this is, but it could be either one of those.
Because I was so surprised they're having this standoff between the Inhumans, and then there's just a Sentinel in the back.
Because his X-Men are so endangered, the government actually had Sentinels watch over the quote-unquote protect the mutants with Sentinels, and X-Men are like, you're not having fucking robots that usually kill us, protecting us, so they're like, okay, we'll have mechs with humans in them that are probably full of racist humans that want to kill you anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, that seems more suspect.
Yeah.
So Downer puts everybody to sleep, and Magic just teleports in and puts Downer in hell. As just like, fuck you.
Literally, she's like, see you in hell.
Yeah. This is actually something Magic does a lot, where like she just shows up and she just takes out their most powerful piece and just is like, you're in hell now. And it's a pretty good tactical move. Like, it makes sense.
I mean, it's a good thing for the writer.
Yeah. And then Magneto shows up, and if you saw X-Men Apocalypse, he does the same thing he does there, where he slams steel girders into the ground and makes like a cage for the Inhumans.
Yeah.
And while they're trapped, Cyclops talks to Alchemist and convinces him to transmute the Terrigen mist cloud.
But he has to touch it in order to transmute it, so he has to go into the cloud, which kills mutants.
Yeah, and I actually think that
oh my god, there's a better picture of Sunfire on this page than the other one. How did they choose the worst picture?
I don't know.
Wait, which page?
The page right before the end.
I don't know.
So, Cyclops gives Alchemy a pep talk that I actually like this scene a lot, even though it's only like 2 pages. It's very, like, why Cyclops is great to me. Like, he basically says, like, you know, you can save us, you can do what needs to be done, like, you can be an X-Man, like, you'll be the best of us if you could do this. And Alchemy's convinced. And that's the whole issue.
Okay, we're putting this picture up on the Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't stop laughing. It's like who do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like Sunfire. next to like super detailed Wolfsbane and
it's
stuff
just
like
like
that.
the saddest thing is we read a really good Sunfire comic at the beginning of our run, and this is how they're treating him.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that this is a really like cool way to, because Cyclops is so like pro X-Man, I like that he frames it in the mindset of like, do you want to be an X-Man now?
Yeah, like I mean,
this
is like just a small clip from the speech. He goes, years ago, the X-Men saved you, saved your mother. You don't owe us anything for that. It's just what we do. We want to keep doing that for everyone. But let me be clear. If you help us here today, we live. If not, we die. You can save us, Alchemy. You can do what we do. You can be an X-Man. And, like, I think that's great.
I was imagining he was doing an Obama impression while saying that.
As soon as I said, let me be clear, I was like, here comes Slice Obama.
Let me be clear. You could be an X-Man, or you could be a bad guy.
or you can be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Alchemy says, of all the transparent ploys, you think I don't know what you're doing? And Cyclops says, I want to be transparent. This isn't some kind of trick. I want you to understand, and I want you to make your choice of your own free will. But I need you to do that now. What do you say? X-Man? I say X-Man. Good. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's a good scene. And it's like, that's why I love Cyclops, because, like, he's basically saying, like, everything sucks, but, like, we can be better if we work together.
And I especially like that. Like, I didn't think about Cyclops a lot in this way before when I was younger, but it's the fact that he is sticking up for his people that makes him interesting. Because before, like, you could have Captain America give that kind of thing. It's like, be a good person, but Cyclops is framing it in the realm of being an X-Man.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's like, it gives you kind of like pride in being a mutant. Instead, just
and
like...
who else could shoot X's out of their eyes, too?
God damn it, Phil.
I'm sorry. I just, when I saw that scene, I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm not trying to be downer. The Inhuman.
I'll send you to hell if you're downer.
Phil, for making that joke, you have to fucking read the next issue.
Okay, shit. So we have the setup for the final encounter, which is them versus Gas.
Yeah.
Again, I was not really into this.
Well, okay,
Really?
I want to defend this real quick. The reason why I like this so much is because the conflict is them versus nature.
No, but there's 2 things of Gas, and they're just like, we'll stop this one.
No, I know, but, like, they plan to also stop the second one. But think about if you had 2 nukes heading for your country, and you could stop one, would you just like be like, oh, I can't stop both, so I'm not going to stop one?
And at the end, they say like, their mission isn't over. They have to stop the next one, and that's why the Inhumans are now at war with them because, well, we'll get into it.
And like they're literally fighting a force of nature.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically they need to drop alchemy into this to stop the gas, to transmute the gas into something else. Crystal, the Inhuman team in Madrid, where the original encounter with Storm took place, is basically saying we need to go stop them from doing this, and Magneto is putting those steel girders everywhere, like we said before. And then we go back to the gas scene where Sunfire is flying with alchemy to drop him into the or to go into the gas with him. And then we see the Royals show up, the Inhuman Royals.
Yeah.
So that's Medusa, Black Bolt.
Using their teleporting dog.
Yeah, some big dog.
Lockjaw.
Okay.
An old guy who has a gun. I don't know what his powers are. He's just in a suit and has a gun.
And then it's like, excellent shot, Inferno. You're so much better than Sunfire because you're an Inhuman and we can use you in movies now.
She doesn't say that.
I know, but it's just like, he's like, what does he do different than Sunfire?
He's just fire guy.
He's shitty Sunfire.
He's just a shoot fire, whatever. Fuck this. And then they're like, we're going to have to fight them, I guess, for this final encounter.
So wait, when Inferno knocks Sunfire down, there's another panel of him on all fours with his mouth huge open, and he looks like a dog panting.
I feel so bad for Sunfire. And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't. He's just like, Jesus, what's happening?
He says, when he gets hit.
He does carry the hero to save the day, so he's a glorified escort.
That's true. I wish he did, I don't know. I have a soft spot for him. I just wish he did a little more than asking how high should they fly up.
Well, as you can see with what happened with Multiple Man, a lot of times X-Men has so many good characters that they don't really like handling very properly.
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Cyclops is like, I'm going to go talk to Alchemy because he broke his arm from the fall, which is amazing that he only broke his arm from that height.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the X-Men are going to go.
But he landed on hard rocks.
Yeah, that's true.
The rocks broke his fall.
So they're going to go hold off the Inhumans, and Cyclops is like, you're a soldier now. I know it hurts, but like I've been dealing with this pain my whole life, and I'm not a pussy, so you should also not be one.
No, I think he says it in a nicer tone than that.
He does. He says, even this much pain, you can set it aside. Trust me, I've been doing it all my life.
He says you need to work through it. This is bigger than pain. This is bigger than you.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little condescending to be like, you can do it because I've been doing it. But
no, but he's saying that like this is just pain. Like
he's saying his previous speech was "You're not alone, and neither are we." I think that works.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, the Cyclops scenes where he's giving speeches are the best parts for me. So Sunfire again is flying with this guy now, and there's a standoff between the mutants and the Inhumans, and
the Cuckoos they make it look like Magic is attacking Black Bolt, their king, and then everyone goes to shoot at like Magic, but because the Cuckoos made an illusion, they're all actually shooting Black
I gotta say
Cuckoos
instead of Cuckoos.
Yeah, he has cooking on the mind. Yeah, so anyway, they shoot Black Bolt or something, so they're stunned for the moment. And then you see a page of alchemy being dropped into the Terrigen Mist cloud, and as he falls through it, it starts changing from its weird green into this dark red. And then Sunfire flies around the other side and catches him.
And the kid like sheepishly says like, I did it, I changed the whole cloud. Didn't let it touch me once.
But he's covered with sores over his body. He's dying.
Yeah, he looks pretty gross.
He immediately starts like melting. And Cyclops is like, you'll be all right. You're a good soldier. You're a good soldier. And then he dies.
He says, I'm not a soul, and he dies.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
That's my favorite. Probably one of the saddest part of this whole comic was because Alchemy was just like a kid who had powers. And like Cyclops was forced to recruit him to this war, and he basically probably Cyclops knew deep down he was killing him, and this is like what the sacrifices aspect of the character.
And his last words were, "I'm not a soldier."
Yeah, so like Alchemy never asked for this, and Cyclops basically used him just to save everyone else, and like that's not a good feeling to do that.
Also, the previous page does make the X-Men look a little more suspect because the red cloud is like clearly blood that he transmuted it to, and Emma Frost is looking up at it, like grinning, saying, "Have you ever seen anything so lovely?"
Is it blood? didn't think it was blood.
I didn't think it was blood either.
It starts raining blood.
No, I can.
It just rains.
It just rains, but I can see where Darryl is going. It could be viewed as a red herring, where because what happens is
red herring.
Yeah. So what happens is when Cyclops confronts Black Bolt and Medusa, and he says like, "It's harmless. We could have made it to kill you guys, but we just want to make it harmless because we're not like you. We actually care about other people." So like, it could have been a red herring where it seems like the X-Men are transmuting it to be something harmful, but it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. The water that comes out of it is red, but I didn't think it was.
Yeah, maybe
blood.
it's not blood. I don't know. It's red. I just associate.
I never transmuted Terrigen Mist. So I don't know what an Earth Terrigen Mist looks like. Maybe it looks like blood cloud.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So they confront. Cyclops confronts the Inhuman Royals and says basically like, you poisoned us and we changed it into something non-harmful. And he basically starts saying like, this is a weird scene to me because he's like, the Medusa's like, why you made enemies of us forever? And he's like, we already were ever since you poisoned the planet. And then he's like, and then she's like, we didn't poison the planet. And he's like, well, you have a story, I have a story. It doesn't matter which one's true. It kind of does.
Imagine which one's believed. But that is kind of true because Trump's president. It is matter.
Okay, but so are you saying Cyclops is Trump in this story?
No, I do think that this is a really weird line because like he's right. Like it kills mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does matter which is true.
Him explaining is weird because he's in the right that they were careless and they kill mutants, but like he's framing it like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the propaganda I sent out to everyone with my telepathic message to Emma.
Yeah,
I think it's the only thing in his argument that doesn't make sense in this book.
Yeah.
To me.
and then he starts saying, "I'm not a person anymore. I used to be a teacher, student, warrior, blah blah blah. But I'm not even a person anymore. I'm an idea, and ideas never die." And then he goes to start shooting something at
His optic
Inhumans.
blast, his X-shaped optic blast.
Optic blast, come
And
on.
Medusa tells Black Bolt, yes.
And Black Bolt, I guess, goes, hey. And then Cyclops gets eradicated.
He does have his mouth pursed in an O.
Yeah, so we see Emma, in the scene before this, actually start to bleed out of her nose while Cyclops is confronting them. And then as he gets blown away, she's bleeding more.
She's very turned on right now.
Yeah.
In anime terms.
Yeah, she's a baka hentai.
Yeah.
And then we see a week later Scott Summers, Cyclops, on a tombstone. And we basically find out that, something's wrong here. Cyclops' brother, Havoc, says, like, something's weird because, like, why would Cyclops suicide himself against Black Bolt? They basically frame it like he by starting to use his optic blast, he knew he was going to die.
Yeah, and and he says like Cyclops will never give up. He'd rather keep fighting than give up in a way like that. Like he would not make himself a martyr if there's a chance to keep fighting himself.
Yeah, and turns out this whole time at the very beginning of the story, Cyclops actually died when they first went to Muir Island. That when they first found those mists, he actually died there. And in everything else from this story, Emma was just pretending to be Cyclops.
Yeah, she's saying it's psychic projection, and she only tells us to have it because she feels like he deserves to know. And here's why
First off, before you get to the analysis, she does say he's still alive. He's just not some person anymore. I made him an idea. It was my gift to the man I loved. Mm-hmm. That like I made him an idea, and ideas never die. So he's the mutant martyr now. And he didn't just die in some big superhero event.
She does look a little crazy as she says this.
She does look really crazy. Oh, and also Downer's in hell.
Oh yeah, Downer's in hell.
Magic shows up and it's like, hey, how's hell going?
And Downer says like, I don't like being a human anymore. And Magic's like, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But the reason why I kind of defend the story is because like going into the story, the way he does fake death, was what I expected. I kind of like the idea that. Cyclops, this guy who fought his whole life, he just dies of a disease like immediately, and he just dies in Emma's arms, not accomplishing anything, and all he does is tell Emma like, "Oh, you can't end like this. Like, don't let it end, Emma. Like, all he can do is just beg his wife to carry on his legacy." And she feels like it's unjust, and she tries to make him into a bigger symbol. I like the idea.
I also think that because he's always been like this broken guy that fought so hard to be better, having him die, like you said, in like some shitty circumstance, like almost alone on the floor, and then have mutants turn him into an icon, like I just think that is reflective of his personality too.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw it afterwards where like throughout this comic, when I thought Cyclops was being an asshole and being way too confrontational immediately, like I'm like, well,
they're
it's just Emma doing
genociding his people, like with this cloud. Imagine if there was only 200 people, like of your race,
and he knows some of these people. Like imagine like
a
cloud killed me, Ryan, and Darryl. Wouldn't that be alone to set you off against anyone?
Not only that. If your species was about to go extinct,
if we were all Phils, and the three of us were dead, and you're the only Phil,
it's hard to imagine this weird scenario, but I do understand the point you're making. But instead of being like, oh my god, we need to talk and say like, what can we do to stop this? He's just like, kill the Inhumans.
Yeah, but I also think framing as Emma, who was always been more of a more extreme. She was a villain at one point. It makes more sense that she.
Yeah, it did make more sense, but I'm like, you're just being an asshole as Cyclops now.
That's part of what I liked about
Cyclops has. I know this is not indicative of this story, but the X-Men have gone to the Marvel Universe many times in the last decade and been like, hey, could you maybe help us not get genocided? And they're like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's part of what
Go ahead. Now speak, Ryan. Keep fucking talking.
Hold on. I just want to say this one small thing.
Yeah, no, one more thing. You just said three things in a row.
I'm sorry. But it's kind of, I feel like you're making the argument, and this might be super dramatic and political, but like they've been peacefully protesting for a decade, and nothing happened, and now he's more aggressive and violent about it.
Like they didn't kill anyone. First of all, like they're just like, we blame the Inhumans. Like we're being outspoken that the Inhumans were careless. Like
yeah.
Like they fight the Inhumans, but they never kill any Inhumans or anything like that.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say, Darryl?
Oh, I was gonna say what I kind of liked about the story is it's hard because I don't know the history behind like what Cyclops did before all this stuff, so I don't know how accurate it is to his character. But I like that Emma kind of villainized him in a way because of the fact that she was so like upset or grief-stricken with his death that she wanted to get back at the Inhumans any way she could. So she went above and beyond, and she did the telekinetic message to everybody on Earth to be like, hey, Terrigen clouds are killing people. Like, we need to do something about this. And she was trying to paint a target on the Inhumans because this affected her in, like, a profound way. It affected her very personally, where she needed to do everything in her power to both, like, ensure that Scott's message carried on and also get revenge on his behalf.
The thing that I think supports that is when she says the mist might even kill humans. We don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that definitely supports that case.
And that's something where you can be like, well, Scott was going too far, but it's also now that we know, it's like it was Emma doing that. I kind of like that twist, even though it's kind of dumb and comic booky, being like he was a projection of his wife the whole time. But it's I like parts of it.
They do keep it consistent, like maybe because like no one ever sees Cyclops except when he's Emma, and Steph Cuckoo's back Emma up, and there's a scene where they actually are like, did you see that for a second? And Emma says like, we'll talk about it later. Like they pretty clear that Steph Cuckoo's figured out pretty soon, and they back Emma up. And
it's also, I think on the reread I liked it a lot more because all the scenes with Emma because there's a couple scenes where we think it's Emma talking to Scott. But on the reread, it's a lot of her. It's much more self-doubty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just her talking to herself using Scott.
And it's her talking to herself like, what do we do? Or like, should we have done that? Where on the first read, it just seems like Emma as just, she's like the audience surrogate into Scott's thought process. But I liked it a lot more on the reread. Yeah. I actually think this book's pretty good.
I don't like it logically because I feel like there has to be someone out of all their teams that would know, like, hey, something's up, like something's a little weird about this.
I mean, doesn't this take place over like a day?
There's only like 6 X-Men on Cyclops' team, first of all, so only 6 people have access to him.
Yeah, but does anyone any of the Inhumans or the people on the X-Men team like have any kind of like supersonic hearing or X-ray vision or any heightened senses that could see through like telekinetic?
Emma is a really powerful psychic. So.
I mean, she talked to everyone on Earth at once.
Yeah, like she's like Professor X. So.
That's so crazy to me. Like, no Cerebro, she's just like, I got this. I can talk to every human.
Yeah. She's kind of like the replacement for Professor X as the world's most powerful psychic.
I think the reason I was so like I had such a bad taste in my mouth from the story was just like it reminded me so much of Civil War, where it felt to me like they were like, we want to have heroes fight each other from different sides, and we just have to have a story about that, and we'll kill Cyclops.
I felt this had more of a resolution and point than Civil War.
Yeah, it actually ended without like just bullshit Deus Ex Machina and like there's actually a resolution. It comes to a climax at the end of the Terrigen Mist. They fight over the Terrigen Mist and they resolve it and they set up the status quo. But Cyclops' story is done. Like
they do demonize the mutants further after this, right? Like now the mutants feel like their problem. Like I just remembered the comparison to Hitler was the young Cyclops that time ported to this present feels like he's growing up to be an evil person. Because
and people talking to that Cyclops say we should kill him because it's like basically killing baby Hitler. So if Jeb was in Marvel Universe, he would kill young Cyclops immediately.
I do give this book some credit because even though it is nowhere near as new reader friendly as I think Death of Wolverine is, they do leave out a lot of the extra dumb stuff. Like, there's still the Inhumans and the Terrigen Mist stuff, but that's kind of baked into the premise. You do, like, they leave out... The only time, like, the past X-Men are in, it's just, like, in passing or splash pages.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what Civil War was so memorable for me. Because you can have, like, weird shit. Like, as a writer, you can't help some things in Marvel Universe are weird. Because all these different writers are working together. Some people have bad ideas. Some people have good ideas. But if you're writing an event, you don't have to reference every dumb idea that's being present in your story.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a bit more reader friendly than the Wolverine one because there wasn't
any
scenes where they're like, and this other than like I'm talking to Magneto, but everyone knows who Magneto is.
Oh, I guess like yeah.
There aren't any scenes where it's like we expect you to know or to like connect with this, other than maybe Black Bolt knowing that whenever he speaks, everything blows up.
Yeah, they do have a few characters that you don't know, but like most of them are not major players. Like they're just background characters.
Even like at the end when Havoc shows up, he says like Scott was my brother, and that's all you need to know to follow that.
Yeah,
scene.
it's immediate connection.
Like Phil's probably right overall that this is like Devil Wolverine's a better story. Maybe I'm dumb and this is a shit story. but here's my defense.
That's definite.
Here's my defense of it. X-Men stories are a lot. This is more of an X-Men story, which is why I like him more. Devil Wolverine probably works better because it feels like more of a self-contained story to tell a Devil Wolverine. I like this because you read this to see the X-Men story continue, and it does that. It shows how Cyclops dies. It shows how the X-Men and Inhumans were escalated. Yeah. And here's the thing about X-Men in general. X-Men is a really hard book to get into because there's so many characters, there's so much history behind it. Some of it is dumb. Some of it seems dumb at first. There's layers to it, but X-Men is rewarding because if you get into the lore and you follow the story, it rewards you because you know these characters and you care about them, and it makes you more invested in following the events as they happen. Devil Wolverine feels like more like it's for the new readers, so I think it's better for new readers. If you're a new reader, read Devil Wolverine. But like, if you want to get into, this is not a good story to start with X-Men. Don't start with Devil Wolverine.
Yeah, there's so like if you're gonna suggest new reader stuff for X-Men, it's not this.
Yeah, but if you are interested in following the new continuity, you do start appreciating stories like this more than as a new reader. There's always characters that are all fighting and all mad at each other and stuff like that.
I do also think that Death of X is more consistent. I think Death of Wolverine is kind of crappy until issue 4, which is fantastic. And I think Death of X is pretty consistent the whole way through. By crappy, I mean like not crappy.
I would say meh.
Meh. Yeah.
But do you really think that I'm just this book had so many action scenes that were just like we want to have the X-Men and Inhumans fight, and that's it.
There's definitely a lot of this is more comics.
Like the Hydra stuff in the beginning was pointless.
Yeah. Every issue in Death of Wolverine has an action scene that's like he kills all these supervillains.
But that's because you like watching Wolverine fight dudes,
and it's also because they're his like. He's like going through the roster of his most important rivals one by one.
Yeah.
And they get like a pretty intense amount of time spent on these fights. Whereas this is like, wouldn't it be crazy if this person used their powers on these people and then Hydra shows up and then...
Here's a counterpoint. X-Men Days of Future Past, the movie, most of the movie is non-action. Only the future scenes are action. And they're all... the characters you care about, some of them because you know from other movies.
Except for Sunspot. Fuck Sunspot.
Yeah, but like, but generally, they're not the characters of development. So you really dissect that movie into the character-driven past and the action-heavy future. Is that a bad movie? Because that's doing exactly what this comic does. The Inhumans, they have the Storm team fighting the Inhumans, which is action-heavy stuff. But most of the stuff with Emma and Cyclops is about this conflict between The X-Men hate the Inhumans because they believe they were careless and all this stuff, and how Cyclops wants to make an example. And so, is X-Men Days of Future Past a bad story because of that? Does that sharp division between action scenes and the character scenes?
They might be two different cases.
It is definitely the case.
I'd have to watch it again. I don't really remember it too well.
I think that's a fair comparison, though.
And I'm not saying Phil's wrong. Like I said, read Death
For
Wolverine.
once.
Yeah, Death Wolverine is the more new reader friendly, and this is a comic book, more comic booky because it follows continuity. It's an event book. It's stylized like an event book, but generally when you read X-Men, I'd rather read stuff like this that progress the story more than are just like more like prestige
Fan servicey.
Yeah, fan service stuff, kind of. Yeah.
I have the ultimate debate settler.
Yeah.
Which of these stories has the Inhumans in it?
I really like. I've
The
such
Inhumans?
I have such a hate for Inhumans and event stories that I can't get past it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I haven't enjoyed one event that we've read.
Yeah, they're usually shit, and I would have in a lot of different contexts. If it wasn't the X-Men, if it wasn't Cyclops, I might hate this more, but. Those make a huge, and the fact that the Inhumans are the assholes in the story, which I like seeing. Like, there's a lot of things when you read a lot of comics, like this is a story that's only rewarding if you read a lot of X-Men. Like X-Men is one you really have to read a lot of X-Men to really get stories like these.
So let's take a final vote. Phil, which one do you prefer?
Oh, Wolverine for sure.
Daryl?
Do we have to do a vote? I think we all.
Oh, man.
No, because Daryl's not too sure.
Well, we can just ask Darryl because Daryl's the
Yeah, it's hard because I'm split between what each of them does better. Like, I was more interested in this story because there were a lot more things going on, and I anything that gets into a moral quandary is immediately like peaked on my scale.
Even though I absolutely hated it the first time, I think I preferred Death of X this time. What about Sly? You say X?
I'm real torn between.
Yeah, I'm Death of X. So it feels like now outnumbered by all these idiots who fucking love dumb event books and fucking
Yeah,
dumb actions.
I can't. I'll never. I just can't. I understand a lot of the points you're making, but I just can't like this.
I'm not saying I never say you liked it. I'm just saying because you were saying like, how can you like this? I'm just saying why I like it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So Daryl, you abstain from the vote.
Yeah, I'm split. If you come to my house and hold a gun to my head, I'll tell you.
Daryl's saying both sides are just as bad.
They are very different stories, so it's not unreasonable to not want to compare them.
No, that's absolutely true. So I guess that wraps it up. I hope you guys like this 2-part saga.
Ooh, that was a long argument. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So as always, you should rate, review, and subscribe, and on iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff. And check out the rest of the shows on the network. We have the sampler out, but we should also... I want to spotlight Square Roots this week, because Square Roots just finished Super Mario RPG a couple weeks ago.
Love that game.
That's a good game.
Yeah, and that was really fun. They only did it in, I think, 4 episodes, so it's a lot quicker to get through than a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of the Super NES RPGs aren't too long. Like, Chrono Trigger is like a 16-hour game.
Yeah, and they have just started Daryl's favorite game, Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
Daryl hates it.
Darryl hates this one game. Just kidding. It's like 8 games now.
See this one trick Square did to make Daryl hate their games. Include Disney characters.
It's called Gummy Ships. Yeah, you guys should check out Square Roots. It's great. And
Cool.
That's all I got. Everything else can be found at comraderadio.com. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been 1,000 dead multiple men.
I've been the Blood Cloud.
I've been a Debbie Downer.
And I've been a horrified, mangled, shallow shell of a sunfire.
Stay in continuity.